Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
And just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
Now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
Just got flashbacks to last night as I was watching The Disaster Artist again, and then it just reminded me that I've had that out of Redbox for literally like 2 weeks now and haven't returned it.
That was my first Redbox rental, and I was like, "This is why I don't rent these things."
Oh man, you're bad at this.
Terrible.
My God,
absolutely terrible.
I was shocked that you use Redbox at all anymore.
Right,
and I'm like, of course you just steal from it.
Because I was like, they don't like on the limited amount of things I have, because I don't have all that crazy shit you've got, for what you can watch and shit. Like I've got like my friend's Hulu account, like my mom's Netflix account, these things, and they don't have that on there. So I was like watching it. I picked it up thinking, how hard is it? Like, you could take it anywhere. It's a Redbox. You could drop it off anywhere. Nope. I know it every day, and I still haven't dropped it off.
They overestimated our willingness to leave the house.
Right.
That was their first mistake.
I just hope they cap it off at like the price that the DVD's actually worth, instead of just like letting it go. I'm gonna try to remember to take it on my way home, but that's probably not gonna happen.
You spent $35 on The Disaster Artist on DVD,
and this is all because of damn James Franco in the intro there. That's all. That's the only reason why I brought this up. Because what we really have for this podcast episode for all of you guys is actually a fucking special treat.
I so love that we agreed to keep this one short and then went on a 2-minute Redbox.
Yeah.
Rant. Okay.
That's what, Redbox and weed will do that to you. So, we have a buddy, Chase Nugent, on. He fucking, we just really... Slurs. Chase Nugent on.
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper.
Chase Nugent, however you want to look out for him. And he did some really dope shit for us at our downtown Santa Ana Cinco de Mayo event.
Yes.
And when he came out, I wasn't sure what to expect. Didn't know the guy. And so I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I was just happy that there was a rapper, like, even for the novelty of it alone. And then, dude just came out and fucking crushed that shit.
But it was more, even more so than just the skill. It's the charisma and everything else that came with it, that we were like thinking, okay, who are we going to bring on this week? And it was funny that we both just, we both had the same idea. We both had the same idea before we even talked about it. And then it worked out last minute, as it usually does with us. Super last minute for just about everything. But yeah, I think that you guys are going to truly enjoy the show. You guys are going to learn a lot if you are also aspiring, not just with rap music, but in just about any musical field or any creative field whatsoever. The ideas of writer's block, or a lack of creativity, and how you can kind of get around that, and what you can tell yourself to get you out of the mind shackles that the haters bestow upon us.
It follows our usual format. Dick joke, pop culture, deep life lesson, and rounding out somebody's creative journey in order for you to apply it to your own.
And you can hear the bong tokes in the back as usual.
Yes.
That's usually what's going down.
Hitting all the classic beats.
Yeah. So a couple things we've got going on this weekend. We have Art in the Park. It's going to be our 7th Art in the Park, the Monster Mash theme. Come out. Rock out with us, dress up as a monster, bring your monster art, do whatever you want. You don't even have to follow the theme. We just want you there. We want you dancing, having a good time, meeting fucking people of Orange County, and just, spreading that love and creativity. So come out to that. Anything else that we know of? Oh, yeah, also the same night, Retreat Takeover by K-Tribe down in Mission Viejo. They're going to be, bumping some fucking dope-ass techno and house music. So come check that out right after Art in the Park.
Good shiggity shit, man.
Yeah.
So I think first I want to shout out our guests still chilling on the couch over here, and make sure that I'm plugging his SoundCloud right, because that's soundcloud.com/Chase Nugent. That's Chase, like just like it's spelled, and Nugent, Nugent, like
Cat,
Ted Nugent.
scratch,
like,
Reva,
yeah,
dun,
exactly.
dun.
Yeah, or if you know him from Racism.
Oh goodness. Goodness gracious.
And so you guys make sure that you follow us on social media as well. That is at Let It Bleed Cast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. And I just don't feel like making up a weird, abstract reason right now as to why you should do it. You should just go ahead and do it.
Just do it.
Yes. And so do that. And then it's what was your Instagram again?
Chase Nugent, just my name.
Just Chase Nugent. My God, that's only one name you have to remember. And of course, we will be linking all of this in the description of this episode.
Yeah. And we're on Spotify now, bitches. So you better fucking tune in.
I'm just, I love that.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. And we started from the bottom, now we're here too.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
boy. This
anyways,
is the kind of hard-hitting stuff that got us on Spotify. So
exactly. We're
thank you for that.
going to let you guys get right into it. Enjoy the episode and let it bleed.
That is a sin against God. I ain't about that life.
It's kind of funny because I actually talked to God while I was doing tarot. Put on lots of other drugs.
He was the one who told me to do it.
Yeah, he's like, well, actually, just see what you pull. If you pull the Tower card, then maybe you should actually.
He never answers my phone calls. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I hit him up, had him on speed dial. I was like, yo, God, what's going down, dude? What up? All
I
right.
text his ass. I hit him up on Messenger. Like, I can see he read that shit, but he doesn't respond. It's fucked up.
Dude, I don't know what was wrong with me today. I had like gnarly heartburn and I ate healthy. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah. I guess it's just getting old as fuck or something. Or not drinking.
Or not drinking, right?
I was like, I need something to wake up.
Your body's like, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
I have been like consuming a lot of caffeine in the last few days. Not coffee, but just like, well, Joey made these like chocolate covered coffee beans that were supposedly like 3 times the strength of whatever.
Not coffee, just all the extreme shit that's coffee's made from. And
Yeah.
you ingested that directly.
Yeah.
Okay, but it wasn't coffee. As long as you get
Chocolate
there.
covered coffee beans.
Like, is that even good? I've never like chewed on a coffee bean before. That doesn't sound enticing.
These weren't bad, and they got me all fucking definitely like hyped up. I was fucking running
Wired.
around. Yeah.
Running around.
But I mean, that was like a couple days ago or yesterday. So I don't know if it carried over to
I
today.
don't know.
was just like,
I haven't slept. I don't know why I'm this fucked up.
No, I slept great. I didn't want to wake up this morning. It might be the weed too. Anyways.
Well, you know what? Just keep imbibing stuff. I'm sure it'll figure itself out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
welcome, guys.
Would you like one?
I'm down.
There you go.
Ooh, nice.
Those are tasty little
Yeah, what is this?
ones out of LA.
329
Golden Road Lager.
Nice.
Oh, I love Golden Road. They got some good stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Shit, I'm gonna.
I'm gonna get up
I
and
don't got nothing.
give you a cheers, even though it was a couple weeks ago. I'm giving you a cheers for your fucking
For your
performance.
Yeah,
at
your
fucking
set,
Thank you.
man.
at
Appreciate it.
the art walk.
They
dude.
hit me up the morning before too. We're like,
That's,
they're like, all right, do you want to get on the set? I was like, fuck yeah. And I was like, just what do you got? And so they sent me like their track list, but then like specifically like the first 5 songs. And then I went through those and was like putting together just like pieces of shit and trying to like come up with stuff. And then
Yeah.
some of it was kind of just go for it and hope that something happens.
right.
But I was pissed because there were like 3 verses that I like really wanted everybody to hear, and those were the 3 verses that I like fucked up on. And so then all 3 of those, I like got through like a third of the verse and then fucked up and just had to freestyle the rest of the verse. It's like, God damn it.
you know,
well,
I think
from an
that,
outsider's perspective, it
Yeah.
was clean as a hell, man.
Nice.
that
Yeah.
just goes along with pretty much every artist is their own worst critic, because you know what you're expecting, you know what you want to get out, but every single other person had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing about that is that you went with the music and it flowed, and it was like something that actually was like nice to listen to. It wasn't like you hear a lot of different people get up there and try to like spit on the mic, and
Yeah.
especially like nowadays with the style that's going around, it's
It's
kind of
tough.
just like it's like da 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 da
Oh,
da
man.
da. It's like, what the fuck? Like you kept it at a very just like consistent. I mean, the music itself too was very complimentary, and it wasn't
Yeah.
like it was of its own. It's new enough,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, this is fresh. It's like underground hip hop that's like fresh, It's
With
just
the new age
yeah, it's like
beats.
I mean, I'm not as big into it as I used to be when I was younger, but like I felt like Murs and like Dell
yeah.
and all that
Yes,
stuff, the stuff I grew
absolutely.
up with,
Atmosphere, all those
Totally.
motherfuckers. Nas, like
right?
the lyricists, and well, and that's the thing. Like it's it's so hard for me to like hear some of the shit nowadays. Like when you see this little peep with 600 million fucking plays and 600 million downloads and like.
Well, you know, and that's the thing is that I'm very. I let people. I stop trying to argue with people about what's good and what's not, because it is it's all our thing, and you like whatever you like, and I know that people will be able to justify in their own way why it's art to them. There's no point going down that road. It's just, you know, there's kind of a thing that you got to just like, we'll brush it off and just say, hey, well, this is what I like still. And, you know, like that you definitely can't come at me for not knowing that. You know, like, you can't really give me shit for not caring about that. Like, I mean, I'll let you do it and like it, but don't try to like act like I don't know something about hip hop because I don't listen to the fucking, what's his name? That dude. Although it is kind of entertaining as like a rabbit hole to go down like while you're at work, that Takashi or Shaki or whatever, 6ix9ine guy, whatever.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. The
guy with like the rainbow colored hair. He's like, and I guess there was like this whole thing.
Yeah, that guy.
His whole thing was that like
I know what you're talking about from the rainbow colored hair.
Yeah, apparently he's like just gone out and said that he can do whatever the fuck he wants wherever he wants, like gang wise, you know, he could just show up wherever. And so obviously that's gonna cause like this big old like problem with all these like people. And so it was like a bad movie, but in real life. Like they have YouTube videos of like these Soreños in like, you know, Los Angeles, like going on there and saying there's a green light on him, and like if he comes around, and he actually even got into a huge brawl at an airport with these dudes, you know.
Like open up too much.
Oh, for sure.
And
thanks, man. Oh, right on.
It's fucking long.
Oh, I don't think I've had this one before.
Sorry, continue.
No. But yeah, anyways, that kind of shit, and I'm just like, is this for real? This is real life. Yeah. Like this guy has like crazy amounts of followers, and that's like where mainstream hip hop is nowadays. Like that's where it's at, you know. I was so far removed from it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's always going to be a certain sect of it. You know what I mean? Like, while I was bumping, like, in high school, like, Atmosphere, The Living Legends, Immerse, and all those guys, like, that's still when people, like, you know, 50 Cent were in their heyday and stuff like that. Yeah. And so there's always going to be, like, that separation, I feel. You know,
50 Cent compared to these guys, you're
styles
like,
damn,
this shit was good.
And so
you're right.
So that is, like, the new 50 Cent. Unfortunately, it's like Migos. I'm like, that is fucking trash. I'm sorry. Like, they're...
You better watch out, they'll straight up shoot you with the fucking rifle. Like they did in Atlanta.
Right?
Like, fucking,
so I'm like, I'm not saying shit.
That did good for their fucking career right there, you know? Yeah. Having them on there and that making a, you know, bringing that bad boy image or whatever. But yeah, you're exactly right. Like when I was younger, I thought the same thing about 50 Cent. I was like, that shit's fucking whack. But if I listen to a 50 song now, compared to like some of the new shit that's out of like,
love that shit now.
This shit is pretty
like,
dope. Fire. Sometimes it takes you a while
to really. So I wonder if that's going to be there. Maybe like, you know, maybe in 2040, I'll be looking back. I'm like, you know what? Face tats and skinny jeans actually did go together.
Bro,
you
if
know?
they start playing at a club anytime, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Like if you were to ask me when I was in high school, a senior, when these songs were playing, I'd be like, fuck this. But if they started playing, they see me rolling, they hated, patrolling, they trying to catch me riding dirty. That shit, I worked at Disneyland, and we would have like, they would have Power 106 going on in the back of house when we were like making burgers and putting that shit together at the Hungry Bear restaurant, and like that song and booty 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 rockin' everywhere, booty booty booty, and then remember the other one, So Lonely, that fucking a Chipmunk song.
With Akon,
yeah. Those were like the songs that would play like every 20 minutes. Not even bullshitting you. You're like, what the fuck?
See, that's the benefit of history, is that like the worst of like that era kind of just does tend to fade into the background, and you forget about like So Lonely by Akon or Akon in general.
Until you hear someone, you're like, that was tight. Like it just takes you down memory lane, you know? You remember like, you know, one of the first girls that you like made out with or something like that, like behind you know, Pirates of the Caribbean during the fucking when we were working I was working at Disneyland.
Is this what happened to you?
Basically, during that time when I was working there, I was also working, and then my girlfriend at the time went to the grad night, and I had to work the grad night. And so like I ended up sneaking out, and this was also where like when they were redoing the whole Pirates of the Caribbean shit, and so it was just
one of those fucking crazy things that you remember as a
Right,
kid, you know?
of
You're
course.
Like, yeah, I snuck away, and I'm pretty sure I got in trouble, but I also couldn't stay awake for the life of me. Like, who would have thought? Like, I couldn't stay awake at all. If only they had, like, you know, party drugs and stuff back then. That would have, like, helped to go on. Like, I could work this shit, you know? But no, it's like, anyway.
Every song was about how cool it was to smoke weed and how rebellious that was back then.
Dude, I couldn't even smoke weed back then. I was like, that was even before, like, I started smoking weed. To be honest with you, I was like a straight, like, good boy. You know, like I
Same here. Well, I was also like super sheltered too. So it wasn't until like high school and like getting around all this shit that when you start like venturing out.
Where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
I grew up around here. OC, went to Newport Harbor, lived around like Costa Mesa, the whole area. And then, yeah, I don't know how I haven't left because I love, it's funny, like I love, I don't want to say I love other places more because that's like not true because I fucking love it here, but like I kind of want to get away.
You get the flavor of other places, and it's very like enticing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right about the flavor. That's what I've always got, and I could sit here and tell you about all the best places of where I would want to live, but then when I really think about it, it's like there's a reason why I have stayed here, and it's because like this is a place you live to dream about going to those other places when you need to escape. You know?
Yeah, because it's not, you know, it's not rural Kansas, and it's not, you know, it's not downtown LA either.
Like I love, you know, I would love to live in as many places as I can for like an extended period of time, but not like, I don't know, just to be able to move around. Like I say, oh, I lived in the Redwoods and Humboldt area, but then I feel like if I lived there, like went there, I'd probably live there for 6 months to a year and be like, okay, I got to move. I got to move, you know, I got to keep going. I got to do something else.
But here's like kind of,
it's hard to just get out of here though. It's hard to get out for any amount of time because, you know, in our country, you know, we are like, once you are old enough, like you either fucking have to go to school and get a degree to work, or you have to just work, and you don't get days off. Like, you know, you don't get like time off. You work in a restaurant, you can get a few days off here and there, but like you work in a full-time job, you're like, what? Nope, sorry. Like I have from like Friday at fucking 7 p.m. till like Monday morning to like get this shit done. What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? Oh, so
yeah. Well, I mean, that's why kind of I haven't. Well, and I think a big reason too is like the scene that we're creating with the Hennessy's
keeps you here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like
we're part of a community now.
Oh yeah, and we're creating like an entire scene almost, which is kind of crazy. You know, I have talks with William about it, and it's like I even wrote an essay on it a couple semesters ago about like the culture of festivals and how like as you get bigger, you start to kind of lose what made it so amazing unless you can keep the roots of it, kind of, you know? And so I'm like having this conversation with William about like, how do we keep this culture preserved and so fucking amazing as it is as we like continue to grow, because it's inevitable, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. I think that like it just depends. I think at a certain point you come to a crossroads with where you decide what you want to do in terms of how big do you want it to get? Because you can certainly make it big enough to where you can thrive and make money, but still, like you said, you know, keep it to where it's not going to lose its authenticity. You're gonna people are gonna be passionate about it, but at the same time, you don't want to be exclusive. It's not.
That's
like
the thing. It's like you want to bring people in, but you don't want to bring them all.
Yeah, because you know that it gets tainted after
a while. Of course. I mean, like I used Lightning in a Bottle as an example, just because that was one of my favorite festivals, and it's still an amazing fucking festival. But like I've noticed the influx of the Coachella.
After they started advertising Coachella,
and not to say it because like I didn't go last year. I went the year before that, and and the year before that, and then to see the difference in those 2 years was really crazy, like on how much it grew and how affected it got.
Well, to me, it was the same in terms of like what you would experience, but then you had the crowd.
Then
was
you have
like
to deal
lame.
with. Then you have to, and it was like weird. I would go in certain places. It was like, oh shit, here it is. Here's that culture that we're talking about.
Right.
Here's that like
the people that are brand new to it.
Here's the roots
that are still kind of like you know, like who are you? What are you doing? It's not as welcoming, not his family. Like
and I mean it's that like it's weird because like you know, and I hate to want to like exclude people, but you know, like I think that's, you know, why Coachella gets such a bad rap, because it has so many, you know, what I hate using the term like a fuck boy, but like somebody, who comes in and is rude, disrespectful, and slapping women's asses, littering, that type of behavior, you know, and it's like
there's no real community with that.
Yeah.
It's complete stranger to stranger, and it's like about it's about excess to me. It's excess in every form. You've got the hugest people that money can buy, obviously, because you get all these people there, but you have literally a city full of people. And it's not to say, let me take it back and clarify that, you know, I've had a great time at Coachella when I've gone before, and you can, and it's not to say that there aren't good things about it, but you're right, there's not a community. And like, I'm kind of more focused on, like, Desert Heart's the one I just went to, was it's whether you like techno as your main thing, because that's what people are like, oh, the lineup's just pure techno.
And I've heard that the vibes are just fucking incredible.
Incredible. That's what I'm saying. You know, when I went to Fuzzy Puddles and with the Lost in the Sauce, the people, you know, the vibes are fucking incredible. And that's why you want to keep it somewhat, you know, down to that. But I think that the key to it is, instead of just doing one festival every single year that you put all the hype on, it's creating brand new ones, so that all the time, like, kind of creating new concepts and kind of creating new, like, parties that you and your friends are part of, and now you have a new thing to roll on. It's like
that feeling, that idea. It's a boom and a bust cycle. You know, it's gotta kind of overgrow and then kind of catch fire, and then once it does, you kind of start anew with a different thing. Like, you know, I don't think it's really possible to hold on to that, like, that authenticity, that integrity. Like, I think it's like a fool's errand to really, like, try to put so much energy into.
So you don't think it's possible to prevent it?
I think if you're making something that's that good, there's no way you can stop it from growing and being awesome. And when that word does catch on, it's going to grow until it's influxed by enough people to dilute what made that cool.
But I think,
but I think there's a beautiful thing in that. You know,
also though,
and that, like, and you look at almost like we were just talking about. You look back on it in history, like we do, like 50 Cent, who I was like, yeah, okay, now, and now I'm like, dude, he was great. I fucking love that guy now.
Of course, he's a legend.
Well, the difference, this is the main thing I just realized right now. The difference between something like Coachella as opposed to something that was always big and had people traveling, like what we're talking about with, like, Desert Hearts, or even the Grateful Dead, was the fact that you have a community based around people that are still passionate about it and doing their thing, as opposed to a huge event where they just paid a bunch of artists to come and there's no connection between them and the people whatsoever to influence them to behave or act or love or do any of these things. So, like, for instance, with the Dead, you know, they're always up there. The Grateful Dead, they were always up there, and you had all these people traveling from all over because they felt like they belonged. They felt like they wanted to be part of this family. It's the same thing in today's time with, like, the Desert Hearts, or you know, the Fuzzy Puddles crew, or any of the things that we're throwing wherever. Serenity Gathering, any of the smaller festivals that are doing that. You still will get acts that, you know, they want to be part of it. They want to get out there and socialize. And I think that you kind of have to keep that alive to keep it at that level. You know, you really have to get out there and communicate with these people that are there, instead of just treating them like numbers that.
And I think you know, you can buy your tickets to your festival. You can look at artists who were doing incredible things, you know, a long time ago, and that are still kind of out there, you know, on their hustle. And even though they're the peak of their popularity, like, has already, like, come and gone. I think that popularity is not, like, the measure of an artist's worth. You know. So it's like there's still a lot of guys who are out there doing it and just killing it, like you know,
Nas,
Talib Kweli, like, a lot of these guys are still out there just fucking crushing it, even though they're not necessarily in the spotlight all the time, and not everybody's, like, talking about them all the time. That's fine, you know, because they still got their integrity. They got their niche and they're sticking to it, and they still got a devoted fan base that's with them on that one.
Yeah,
that isn't into the new shit.
That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, you know, DJs and artists that are within the group too that are, like, basically legendary and have every bit of you know, talent that any one of those young foreign DJs that are out there doing it from EDC and all that stuff. But it's just, you know, it's kind of maybe for nobody's real intent, like, just the universe has kept it at its like, you know, kept it flaming at the right temperature right there, just for a certain amount of people to keep lit from, you know. That's basically it.
To keep lit.
Yes.
So, all right. So, man, how'd you get into? We had the same fucking thought. Look at us. We're so cute. We finish each other's sandwiches and everything.
Yeah. So, like, it's funny. When I started out, I was absolute trash.
Wait, beginning rapper wasn't spitting hot fire like Dylon right away? What?
But it's funny, man. had a lot of friends just like telling me to shut the fuck up. Like I want to say I was like 17, 16, and just like writing flows, and they were bad. They were awful. It was just like super simple, and I had this love for. It's crazy. I was like a major old school hip hop head, and at the same time, I was bumping bass music and like old school dubstep and like all this stuff. And I never really thought to myself, one day I could do this. It was kind of just like I love the passion of writing so much. And then slowly it kind of started getting like a little bit better and like a little bit better. And then like it's weird because I don't really like remember like a turning point ever where like I started thinking like, hell yeah, you can really do this. I think just like this I don't know, like I just kept kind of going and going and like,
and just you woke up one day and you realize, oh, I'm not bad at this.
Yeah. And like
it clicks. You kind of you paid your dues. It's like you're on your journey, and you're whether you actually had one particular like sensei or master teaching you, like even if it was just yourself, you're going through that. And that's the common thing I've seen from anybody who ever became a good rapper that I know personally. Like I had a friend that was the same way. I remember in high school, it was like a joke. Everybody was just like, dude, Jonathan, shut the fuck up,
Please.
And then but then like he developed an actual like artist. He became an artist because the stuff he had his like persona, and everything that he was expressing was true to his life, and he like definitely just finally accumulated that. And you have to have perseverance. Like you have to be persistent as fuck to be a rapper, and like because it's like, even I would say just as like between comedy and that, like you're up there laying it out in the fucking line for everybody to hear, and you could look stupid as shit at any moment and feel really stupid as shit because as a rapper too, I mean, you could probably attest to this, is like there are days where I could fuck around and just be on it, like depending on whatever chemical reactions going on in my brain, where I'm like, I can freestyle with these guys. I got the beat. I'm fucking just going. Like my word bank is just there. It's like ready to pull from. And then there are some days, like I just like, like nothing. Got it. Nothing. And that's something that you guys have to like battle with on a constant basis.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And and it's crazy too. I was having really bad writer's block for a very long time, and was definitely like thinking about just kind of putting it off and like calling it quits. My girlfriend was like, you're listening to bass music and this experimental shit and glitch hop and stuff all the fucking time. Why aren't you rapping on that instead of just trying to battle against the millions and millions and millions of fucking old school rappers that are out there fucking doing it, when you could be one of, I mean, there's really not that many people doing it
not
with electronic music, especially with like real lyricism and storytelling and the shit that I'm trying to do. Because like, here's the thing, I don't really have like a fucking crazy story to tell. I wasn't beaten as a child. I'm not half black and have to battle with the fucking with issues of race. I've been fucking pretty blessed, which makes it almost like, I want to say almost like harder, because it feels like I'm not, I'm not thug enough, or I'm not, I'm not like
to get the respect that you would use, like in this genre specifically.
I don't know, like, will they respect me, But then I like kind of started hitting me like, fuck that, like, just like, we're all fucking regular ass people, like, fucking talk about life.
There's a bunch of people that are going to these festivals, listening to the same music as you, that are in the same position as you, that are privileged and don't really have that sort of, like myself, like it's the same thing. Like I don't have and everybody can say that they on some level, you do or you don't, and to somebody else it's nothing. Like comparisons are just fucking stupid when it comes to comparing suffering or what your struggles are, what you went through. But you for sure have your own struggles, and I think probably dealing with that sort of idea of having to try to get by while being a white guy that's just like, what are you gonna rap about? Like you have to deal with that stigma and like people just not letting you in. Exactly. And that's something that you're gonna have to just kind of like push past, because it takes a while in the game, in period for anybody, but yet those are your kind of the roadblocks that
Yeah.
are, that are
There's
set
a couple
there for you.
examples out there of people who just have not had like the hard life that they do, and they just elevate their stuff to talk about like other people's struggles, other kind of things going on. You got,
Yeah.
I mean,
Or why can't you rap about positivity or just
Exactly.
fucking like
Yeah.
consciousness?
Take it
you know?
real
And I
old
noticed
school.
that's what I heard a lot.
Get on some
I've
Sugar
heard,
Hill Gang
I've heard
shit.
you talking to well, yeah, so dude, that I love that fucking shit because that stuff was one day we were like going listen to that and like by the like 6th verse or whatever we're just waiting outside the house that we're gonna go and I'm like telling them no wait it's almost done like 5 minutes later they just keep going.
Yep.
But like I mean you rap about positivity in a way like not like like Christian rapping or something that's like supposed
Exactly.
to be really cheesy.
Well, that's the point too, and that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is like, I fucking hate when people are cheesy.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to be fucking cheesy or cliche in any way.
Right.
And like that's a big part of like my writing, and I think too like I'm trying to get very psychedelic. I have a bunch of shit where I'm getting very psychedelic with it, and I'm like trippy, almost like Jekyll and Hyde type things where because like
That's expressive.
we have because we have those fucking ups and downs. Like I mean like don't like I have fucking ADD. I got this shit called Lyme disease, which fucking sucks.
shit.
Like I could talk about that, but that's like a weird like you can't really talk about that. Like
Yeah.
and so it's kind of just like all right, well start like what do I want people to think? And it's like well shit, I want them to get something out of my message. If I'm gonna be fucking writing and I'm gonna be fucking putting stuff on this fucking beautiful artwork, like especially with some of the like electronic stuff that I've been going on, it's really like these beats are fucking amazing, like incredible to the point where I'm like I almost don't even want to fucking put my voice on it. It's that good. Like I don't know if I'm good enough to fucking get on it. But then it's like no, like I need to be. Let's send a fucking message. Let's start like. I don't want to say start a movement because I'm not there yet,
hey,
but like
I'm all for it though. I've been dying for like hip hop to be more a part of like this culture.
like what the fuck? Where like
It's merging that way. I mean, it's such a fast moving movement of music because I mean, when you were in high school when you said you were listening to the old school dubstep stuff? Like what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 2010.
Okay, so see, for me, even just that 4 years, I graduated in 2006, right?
Okay.
For me, 2010 or like 2000, I want to say 12, actually was like the year in 13 where like I would say that I really, because like 2010 was when dubstep was like taking off and it was still in its like. For as far as like the mainstream and popular like stuff, it was still
Definitely.
like barely in its like the hardcore stages of it, like that Excision shit, and then you had like Bass Nectar and like guys like that you would see that were more underground. Rusco too, yeah, and then so those guys, and then those guys, like where it was just like to me, I wasn't really that much into it, but then when I went to Spain when I just turned 25, I was in Spain 2012, 13. That like I started hearing more of like the bass music that we kind of like what we got into, and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so from then you see this like gradual movement because when I was in high school or even right out of high school, it was like electro house and like club Hollywood shit, like going to the Heist and like going to like Crookers and Digitalism and fucking all
Feed
kinds
Me and like all that
Bloody
shit.
Beetroots and Justice, all of that stuff, and so. That was where it was at. It was more high energy, or like you got Big EDC House, you got Deadmau5 coming out, and you fucking all of these people. But then like to go into that more that bassy side, and now like the way it's at, like there's like some brilliant, super melodic shit, and then what Fuzzy Puddles, all those DJs,
is a whole nother fucking level.
So I started with Kevin over here. I worked with Kevin Star Fox. I worked with him at a restaurant. That's where I actually met him. And then we reconnected like way later. He's like, hey, hit me up. He's like, hey, I just got like certified as an engineer, blah, blah, blah. He was working under somebody in a studio, and I was like, okay, like cruise through and hang out. And like at that point, like I tried recording music, I got into it, but I thought that was like not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this was the first time working with him where it was like, shit, like we don't even have to go into a studio. We can record this right here.
Yeah.
And so we started doing like my music, but we would always fuck around and have a good time because he was like getting better and he was really, really good at the technical side of things, but he was getting more into the bass music. Like that was his thing, like the bass, and especially like the trippy bass, because he's a musician's musician. So he's like that guitar player from back in the day that would like play like crazy virtuoso solos, except now his instrument is a fucking, you know, computer and mixing board, and he's like doing stuff that only really like other bass producers like can appreciate to the level of what he's putting it out at. Like when you listen to it, you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. From like a normal standpoint. We always get into it because he's more of like that bass style, and I'm like house. I need the heartbeat because I like that, but I do like
bass, like the consistency.
I just like the roll. I like the party. I like to be able to dance and talk and hang out with people. Yeah. And then sometimes the bass music can, if you don't hear it on the right system. You know, like when he can show me all this music, and I'm just like...
Changes your mind when you hear it on the Hennessy sound design system.
When you're there...
And the intricacies are... And you're seeing this shit, and they're painting shit left and right. And
I was telling him when I went there, I just like grew this completely new like appreciation for bass music, but not even just like bass music in general, because like, you know, like I said, there's like the really hardcore, like old school grimy dubstep shit. But like what you guys were playing, what everybody was playing was just like like a lot of it was great songs that, you know, mixing in songs or samples of stuff that we grew up with, that stuff that's feel good, but like just that like hard hitting, like the time signatures of like the like, you know, just like, but what the fuck is going on?
But it's like organized chaos.
Yes, you're right. Like it's like sound wise, it's chaos, but it's not so much like where old school dubstep. Like I saw this dude with this machine that he was literally just pressing any button, there was no rhyme or reason to it. It was just like different like sounds that would like line up on their own. This shit was like carefully like planned out. And I mean, like, so you had Westbaum go on, and then Kevin right after them.
Beast.
Both of them like beast. But then it was my first time seeing De La Moon Tribe. Like
man.
What the
fuck? Jump up drum and bass.
What the fuck just happened to my brain? No, but it was just like it was its own. It was an orchestra of bass music. It wasn't a song. Yeah. They weren't songs. It was orchestrated. Like with orchestral music, you know, you can like they could dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Like this was like that shit with bass, so it was like very like on a whole different level.
Progressions of like you have 15 different stories in one song.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of what's crazy about it.
But that's where it's going. So that's what I'm saying. Like because we all tend to get caught up in what we like, and at a certain point, most human beings. Well, back in the good old days, in my day, they don't really embrace the future or where they're going. They don't look at it for what it is. They don't really separate the ideas, or at least allow themselves to have like an appreciation for this just as much as that in its own different way.
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
And so I'm okay, thank you. What is it?
It's a Waxman.
Okay, yeah, I'll take some. I thought it was tobacco. I was like, okay. But so... You know what I was saying is like for a while it just hasn't hit me. I go with whatever I really like, and being that I perform blues music and funk and all this stuff, I can go to festivals and dance.
Love me some funk. Love rapping on funk.
All of that stuff. You know, blues, rock, folk, all of that shit. But like I love it. That's why
fucking Led Zeppelin to Incubus to fucking all over the place.
Everything,
you know?
And that's what I listen to in my daily life. I usually reserve electronic music or dance music or house music for when you go to partying, there because. And for me, it's like I don't really like care to dig into it. And once the festival's over, I'm good. I listen to my other music and go back to it. After Lost in the Sauce and then this Desert Hearts, I've been to so many before, but for some reason after this one, I'm like, I just want to like listen to bass and techno.
Nice.
Like, that's all I want to listen to.
Yeah,
no, it's crazy.
It's crazy, and I like. Well, and here's the thing: I call myself a 1%er. I am. Oh, you probably were hitting the...
Oh, this one.
Yeah, because it, like, folds up. So I am very critical of music, especially electronic music, you know? So like, a lot of the music I'm fucking digging, you know? And, like, half of the shit... There's, like, this... I'll find brilliant shit that's, like, some of the most amazing fucking creations of art, and it's got, like, 600 fucking plays, or... 1,200 plays.
I love finding that shit.
Yeah,
though. I really do.
And it's like, so it's weird because like I'm kind of going into this niche scene that's like, it's like very, I don't know, it's very small and growing. This like this, it's basically, you know, like this Fuzzy Puddles type shit where it's like not everybody understands that. I was trying to show my fucking homies at work, like, oh, this is weird. This is too slow. This is what is
because they're not listening to it on that
what
system.
Is this? Yeah, exactly.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way with Kevin. Like, he'll show me all this stuff and like, and it also, like I said, it's one of those things where it's music for like-minded people in the beginning, until eventually it gets, where it needs to go and it takes off and becomes popular. Yeah. But yeah, I'm the same way with it too. I'm also very critical on it just because I'm not like as enthused about, going out and making it doesn't mean that I can't appreciate what's good and what's not. And you could also separate it by just two simple rules. Like you just feel it or you don't, exactly. When you're there, like you'll know that it's good or not. Like, and because all of those things click at once. The idea of like, well, is this super trite? Is this something that like I hear all the time? Yeah. Are they throwing just like, cheesy lyrics over it all? Right. Like, is it part of that like EDC, like mainstream?
These are all the fucking things that go into my head as a fucking rapper writer because like it's so difficult because it's like I'm playing this game. I'm playing a game. I gotta fucking please myself and make myself fucking happy, but I gotta fucking make you guys happy if I'm gonna go anywhere.
But you also look at, I know that you, like you said, I don't know, because I think that I can relate to you on so many levels. When it comes to performing, at least, like, you have to put yourself outside of your own body as if you're viewing yourself there, watching yourself. And if you're satisfied with what you would be doing, like if you would be stoked on what you're doing, then that's all that really matters. You know, you got to make it for you and you only, you first. But then, like when you are genuinely doing that, everybody else or the people that really are recognizing or paying attention for, something that's real, like they'll feel that energy. They will feel that. It will go into them. There's no doubt about it.
And I think that's why, like when I was telling you about that writer's block, I broke out of it when my girlfriend told me to start fucking doing shit with bass music, with like the shit that I listened to, because I was like, oh shit, I fucking love this beat so much. Oh, like there's just 16 bars that have just kind of drums, and there's nothing, like let's fucking put a verse. Let's see if I can put a verse to it, And it starts like, I'm practicing, like, things are coming together, and then, before I know it, the writing's back, and I'm just like in love again, like a little fucking kid, which was like kind of what I was missing, because I was just doing straight old school hip hop, which I love it, but it's a dying breed as well, you know? So it was like,
you got to keep reinventing yourself all the time.
And I love the niche that it looks like you're falling into, because what really sold it for me was when they dropped Shut Up and Groove by Medicine and Masego.
Oh yeah.
And you went in on that one. And I was like,
I didn't even know that they didn't have it on their fucking set list, or at least I didn't see it. So
really?
I heard it and was like, oh shit, I gotta get up in this.
Yeah, man, that was sick, man. Because I love that song to death. I'm like, yes, this needed to be in there, And there's a bunch of cats out there like that who are really doing it, and I can't. I try to find them as soon as I can, because like when you do find that is such a rare thing, that somebody really just applies that that style, that rhythm, that logic to this whole other genre, you know? And when you're kind of forced into that situation of not having enough to talk about sometimes, or not really wanting to fight, compete in that ring, if that ring's not for you, moving to this one over here, that's perfect, you know?
I love where this conversation has gone, because this is definitely the understanding of how things naturally form into true creative artistry, rather than the people that set out from the beginning and stick to this rigid guideline of where they think they're supposed to go based on who their heroes have gone. You have to love all of your heroes and take a little bit of what you've learned from them and kind of throw them into this fucking crock pot and just let it fucking marinate. And when you get those moments or those times, those periods of writer's block, as you say, you got to just remember every time now moving forward that is actually the time where you're supposed to be experiencing other things in life that will give you that inspiration that will one day come back to it. And it is this sort of, not necessarily cyclical, as I've started to realize more and more. It's more of this fractal, going in spirals type of thing, but it's definitely not a linear plane. No. You're learning the same lessons over and over again in new ways. And that's where you come to reinvent yourself constantly. You can't get stuck in something. Or if you really like something that's just of a certain style, let that be one persona of you. and then go
Right.
create a different one. That's
Right.
why I love fucking like David Bowie, and I love guys like that
Right.
where they can just kind of have the different eras of their career, you know, where you
Yeah.
can, those are the, you know, that's the Ziggy Stardust days, or, you know, that's
Right.
this day, and you go and you're just like tap into that, and it's so fucking fun, you know,
It's a
creating
trip.
these alter egos.
And it's
That's
funny
all you-
because like a lot of people get mad at artists even too because they do that because they're like, I miss even at myself, you know, for like I'm gonna use G Jones as a specific because he has a very different style than he did 3 years ago, and I loved his style 3 years ago, and this style now I'm kind of like iffy on, you know, it's amazing in this way, you know, but I'm like, oh well, like I kind of want you to do this, and at the same time I'm sitting back as an artist knowing like, don't fucking judge him for that.
Right.
Like you should be, you know, that's why I am supporting that because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, that I'm kind of like battling, you know, I'm battling with that right now on like what kind of like sets I want to have, you know, am I going to just go all over the fucking place? Is that okay? Like, can I do that? Or do I need to like, you know, be kind of rigid and like, you know, and there's this like,
it's that balance of trying to figure out what you want to do, especially for people who are extremely creative that have so many different outlets. There's always going to be a point where people don't understand or like it, or they judge it for like, they look at it a certain way. And a great example would be Childish Gambino. For me personally, before, when I was like looking at it, you know, it was like that guy was just, you know, kind of still, you know, like he was letting all of his different creative talents marinate into this thing to become what it is right now, what it has become in the last few years. Because when I looked at it, I was like, this guy's just trying to be everything. He's trying to be funny, but he's not that funny, because I can kind of see like his old stand-up. When I listen to it, I'm like, he's not that funny. When I watched his comedy shows, I'm like, he's really over dramatic.
Yeah.
When I listen to his rap, I'm like, it's not that great. But you just let it fucking marinate long enough.
Man, haters.
But you let it marinate long enough.
He
and then,
is fucking golden at everything.
not from the
You lied.
beginning. Not from the
You
beginning.
lied.
If you
Yes,
guys
Not
watch
from the
Community,
beginning.
though,
Dude,
Community
fucking,
was
I
fucking
love-
amazing.
I
See,
love
no,
that
that's the
shit.
thing. So
30
and-
Rock,
and-
one of the greatest comedies of all time.
Which
that he
one?
wrote. 30 Rock. That he
fucking
wrote
wrote
on.
that?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Or like he was a writer on it. Like, a lot
that's
of
where
it.
that's where you and I are different, though. I can't get into 30 Rock.
You can't get into good things apparently if you don't
Apparently
like
not, no.
if you're not a
about
fan
it,
of Donald Glover's entire career, man.
His
But
entire career, no,
but
not
he's
necessarily.
definitely taken it up a
no.
notch.
I definitely think he's gotten a lot better, and you know that's just a personal opinion too. Like that has nothing to do. Like I'm not trying to set the tone for anybody else's opinion either. Like that's just where I'm coming from. Like that's why I couldn't get into it when I was younger, and then or when it was just a few years before. But then what was that? Alas, Awaken My Soul was the last album that he come out with. I thought that was like one of the best albums in the last like 10 years, you know, like, oh my God, this shit's fucking amazing. And then you watch Atlanta and you're like, holy shit, this is probably
Just
one of the
started
best
out.
shows
Yeah.
in the fucking last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, wow, like not every project that an artist does is going to relate to every single person, you know, and that's why you got to continue to do all of these different things and reinvent yourself and do that, because you will finally like reach that audience, you know, just be true to yourself. Time will tell, you know, and it will take you there. And you're right. There's always going to be those fucking haters.
And that's the thing too.
No
And
matter
it's like, I always like, I would get mad at artists when they would, because in LA, you know, it's a very mainstream audience. So a lot of DJs will play to the crowd, as you would say, you know?
Right.
They play a fucking certain set because it's LA, and they play these certain songs, you know, and I fucking hate that. And so, like, moving forward, I'm thinking, am I going to do that too, though? And
At a
do
certain point.
Yeah, like, do I kind of have to? Or do I just say, fuck them, be me, and give it a go and be weird? And
that's a really tough
go
thing
crazy.
to do, especially for musical artists, I'd say, because especially in the industry now, people aren't making money off of record sales.
No.
It's all about your live performances or like, you know, appearances or whatever you do. So if you have to devote all of your time to touring and making your money off of that, like you're going to put a lot of work into it, but that's a fucking exhausting thing to do. You know, like when you go on all these shows and you have to do it day in, day out, no matter what, it gets old. Anything can get old. And so for me, the key would be to keep it fresh is to like limit yourself, be very selective. Like this last year, Gorillaz went on tour, and this is probably the most that they've ever gone on tour and like toured in all these places. But they were so selective for so many years. Same thing with Daft Punk. You never fucking saw Daft Punk, and it didn't matter. You know why? Because people were buying their albums, and it was a different time. It was a whole different fucking thing back then.
Yeah.
And now it's like you have to realize. So
now, have you seen this this new the Netflix show that came out that was Rhapsody?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The episode of The Logic is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh,
so
yes.
good.
Okay, so you're right. Yeah, I did see it. That's the only one I saw.
But this reminded me of G-Eazy's
Logic
right here.
was basically go back to
I didn't even know who he was.
when I'm like 19, and Logic and his old school shit was fucking incredible. And that was who I put as like my person. Like, okay, this is the skill level that I want to get to. And this is the person that I'm going to kind of like watch out. And it's funny too, because like right now I don't really love his style anymore. Like I don't really listen to his shit. I love his old shit way more. But he created completely different personas, and he's absolutely fucking killing it.
I'm so bummed I didn't mention that I saw that in you before.
Right.
I didn't say it, but I was like, oh yeah, no, he's definitely got like a Logic vibe. Like,
I did when you brought it up, I started laughing because earlier, as you were telling me your story, kind of like like it wasn't like a gangster story and this and that. Yeah. That's what I thought to back right away, and that's also what I was thinking of when I was saying about creating like the positive message. Like, I mean, in certain ways, because he is dealing with the younger crowd, and a lot of the people that are his fans are really young, but they are going through shit that's crazy. Like, like a lot of people like contemplating suicide, and it almost seems like you could definitely create a parody, and I'm sure that there has been some sort of thing about artists like him that go and do that sort of mass scale, like mass message thing. But if it fucking saves like people's lives and make people feel better, then like, damn, that's fucking powerful.
I have a couple tracks that's like kind of, it's that in a sense, but in my own storytelling, kind of talking about just like the feeling of being like trapped, but then the feeling like of going through that and the different battles that you kind of face and how you kind of slowly climb your way back up and you fucking to that light in the tunnel, essentially, like I love you're that. Climbing, like that's I even use that as like in one of the lines, but it's kind of like I'm kind of doing that a lot with a lot of stuff that I'm like writing, because it's something that like I feel like we battle with every single fucking day, and we don't talk about it.
Life is about duality, and no matter how you twist it or look at it, or what regiment you try to get on that's going to try to eliminate as many of those dark corners and alleyways as possible, you're on this path. Your own path, you're going through it. You're gonna go through some fucking dark places at times, but that's what life is about, because it's only on the other side of those dark alleys where you can really appreciate the light again. Because everything we're talking about, it gets stale. The light can get stale. It's like, who wants to live on a path of just pure bliss and enlightenment the whole time? Like, that's not even a thing. Like, tell me somebody who does do that, and like, I'd be like, okay, well, whatever, because I certainly am not living that life. We all have these trials, these tribulations, whether no matter how big or small. And we go through them, and we learn from them. That's the most important thing, is that we have to learn from them. And artists want to just fucking, express and share the things that they've learned through their own experiences. That's what art is. No matter what way you look at it, whether it's visual art, everything, it's expression. And you're talking about shit that moves you in any which way, whether it makes you laugh, whether it makes you cry, whether it makes you sad. Why do you think writing about the saddest shit for some people is the only thing that saves their lives? That's exactly what it is. That's fucking art. It's expression. And that is why art is the most important thing. As we talked about in our last message, like, art can save the world because it's the one way you can relate to fucking people without like going straight up to them and saying, you have to do this. It's like, no, talk about an issue that strikes a chord in their heart, and they'll be like, oh fuck, I should probably do this way or that way.
Absolutely.
And way more effective, Like, that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important. And it only makes sense that establishments want to eliminate as much of the funding that goes into that. Like, or you have people that just like want to discredit like the importance of art and what it does for people. And that's what we're doing this show for. We're doing this show to get people like you on to like talk about how important it is to each and every one of us to pursue these passions. Yeah, we're going through our fucking 9-to-5 jobs. We're working all of this shit and doing what we have to do to get by.
Just to get by.
We're not saying get rid of all of that and be stupid, but like we're saying, do what you can to give back
Yeah.
in the way that you can through art, through your expression, through sincerity.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a trip, man. Like, small little story. A long time ago when I first came out of college, I was raised. My parents raised me like super Christian, super sheltered. Didn't really have my own create my own opinions like because of that, or like my own beliefs for a very long time until like I really went in high school, because like I was away from all that and I could be alone and see the
So
thing.
for you got it earlier than you. For me, I didn't realize it until my first shroom trip.
Oh really? Wow.
I didn't realize till my first shroom trip that like because I did my own thing out of rebellious nature.
Yeah.
But like in the back of my mind, it was like, Dad's always right.
Yeah.
The Bible's right. This is what's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my very first shroom trip that was like, your dad doesn't know everything.
Nobody knows shit.
Nobody knows shit.
Nobody knows
You don't know shit.
Yeah.
Everything that you think you knew your whole life is not right. Like, and it's not wrong.
No.
But it's not right,
Yeah.
It's like, don't because then a lot of people make the mistake of hating that side when they go back to
exactly.
it. It's all love. You got to go back and realize that we're all just on this perpetual state of making mistakes and learning from them.
And it's so weird. Like I'm sure for you too. Like when you talk to your parents who are still rigid in that, like
we don't talk about it much, but
yeah. Like, I avoid it quick.
We kind of learn to just like
my parents haven't.
They know. Yeah, I don't want. It's a tough thing because like for me, I could. And if for anybody else, I would sit there and like challenge somebody's thoughts. But when it comes to, it's like the thing, you don't ever want to fight your dad, no matter what, because he'll always kick your ass just because he's your dad, even if he's like 70 years and whatever. Like he's still your fucking dad, and he'll put you in your place. And you love your dad, and you don't want to ever do that. So it's like you don't want to challenge their beliefs, because it's not to say that your beliefs are even right over theirs.
Right.
It's just you were living in different times, and you were going up in different ways.
And we have different
opinions, so you have
perspectives.
You need to pick and choose your battles. And so for them, it's like, they're right in so many ways. In a lot of ways, like, they're the ones still fucking heavily supporting and taking care of me. In a lot of ways, like, I'd probably on the fucking streets if it weren't for my parents, like, bailing me out of a lot of fucking things,
100%.
And so the lessons that I've learned from them and what they have given me, I can't discredit that. A lot of people are like, oh, fuck your parents. Don't listen to your fucking parents. They don't know shit. We don't need this and that. I was like, no, that's complete, like, disrespect and also stupidity.
Like,
we're all going through this thing where you have to take and extract the good lessons from everything and then realize what's bad or what's useless or not useful to you.
And you don't even see those things 90% of the time till way down the line.
Oh,
You're looking back at
hindsight is fucking ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. And like, I mean, like you said, with like your dad, like for me, my dad's like probably my biggest like role model. And
mine too.
So like it's tough just because, like with all I do, I'm trying to please them too, And I feel kind of bad, because they, I am smoking weed and doing psychedelics, and I don't go to church, and I don't, I don't believe in religion. I believe in, creating your own fucking mentality and perspective, the law of attraction, shit like that, and it's like, I feel, I want, I don't want to discredit anything that my dad has ever, my family has ever done for me,
because you can't. It's it's a completely, like, I mean, in the idea, in the grandest, weirdest me putting on this like whole fucking, it's all simulation fucking theory type of ideas.
Right.
Like we really are playing on different frequencies, like different levels of video games all the time. So his existence is very different than yours, because perception is everything. And his perception of the way the world works, same with mine.
Yeah.
Same with a lot of other people's dads, is like very different. Like we were talking about it before too, like how the world is just such a different place for so many fucking people all the time. But it's all going on right now. And so it's not to discredit or take away from that, but what at the core, deep down inside, beyond like what they say they want or what they don't want, they just want the best for you. And at the end of the day, if you can get where you got to go, and this is what keeps me going too, is the fact that like, okay, one day I will make all of this happen. I'm not going to be lazy and just let it fizzle away and become a burnout, because that does happen, unfortunately. And those are examples that people try to use. I'm going to continue to persevere and show that I can take care of myself and do this and give back. And then that will be all of the, the satisfaction that they need the
It's
proof.
a trip. It's
the
a
proof
trip.
because they know, but they're it's a fear thing. You know, they want the best for you
course.
ultimately, no matter what it is.
Of
They
course.
might think that they know what it is because they're only going off of what their experiences have taught
Right.
them based on the economy, and we know that shit's not consistent. We know that it goes up and down and all fucking round. Political spectrums change.
Like a degree.
You know, like
I
we're
just-
back into the
yeah.
revolutionary days of the the 60s. You know, where the Vietnam War era, where people are fucking really like starting to wake up and take and fight for what they believe in and social changes happening and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it is.
We have people living now who were, who had fucking slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit, like.
Do we really? Is that?
They're probably mostly dead, but
had them?
there's some left.
But I mean, you're right. Definitely the culture. I mean, the culture is still there, and
Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
so like for example, I just finished my last final ever of college on Monday.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
congrats.
But that degree, like, to my parents 20 years ago or whatever it was,
Would have got them a job.
it would have not only a job, it would have set them for the rest of their life. For us now, it's a completely different thing. That's like, all right, well, you got a little check. All right, now let's see what you can do with it. And you're going to be still bottom bitch and, have to climb your way up the ladder wherever the fuck you go if you decide to,
Now you're allowed to submit an application.
Yeah,
It's
well,
not.
yeah.
Here's
You're not
the-
right.
Here's
Like,
the funny thing for me that's even kind of more, I guess you could say, sad for most people that would look at it. So like my parents didn't even get a college degree, and they have respectable jobs, really good jobs that have supported and provided for us in every which way. And here I had every route to go to college and all of the stuff provided to be able to really make it. But like my only decision for not continuing along with it was like, what the fuck am I going to school for? Right. Because I went through the motions. I went to Golden West College and I did all that shit, like the general ed at junior college, and it was just like, well, I don't know what I want to go to school for. So why am I going to waste money and go to school and get a degree?
And you made the right choice, man.
Because
you
this
really
is-
did.
it's changing,
It's heartbreaking
Yeah.
to watch
Yeah.
all these kids just getting
Yeah.
crushed by debt because they think they have to.
Right.
You know.
I mean,
they
I'm in
have
debt.
to.
My
Yeah.
parents think I'm in debt because I am, but like nowhere near what these other people are for doing the thing. Well, they got a degree, and it's just like, how can
and
you
my
guys?
parents, like,
how
right
do
now
you?
are like, okay,
How
so.
do you not have that foresight to see that
Right.
this is becoming obsolete? Like this degree,
Yeah.
this piece of paper, this thing that all of these people have is like no longer
It's no
useful
longer that,
because
yeah.
and I tell them, I'm like, Mom, I'm not a lazy. I've had 3 jobs last year. I have 2 jobs right now. I work full time and have another job, and I do all this shit. I'm not a lazy person.
Yeah.
I'm broke because shit's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fucking
It's a
bills.
different time.
Yeah, it's a different
It's a
time.
different fucking
It's a
time.
fucking different time, dude.
Yeah.
Well, the cost of housing went up and the price of consumer electronics went down. And so that's why these people who are they're old or people of that generation just can't fathom. It's like, why can't you just buy a house? It's like you can afford an
Right?
iPhone. My God, you've got nothing to complain
I could
about.
fucking buy a house. I would love to fucking buy a house. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got people who's like,
I can
what was
barely
that senator
fucking
who was
pay
like,
rent. I'm thinking about, when I'm gonna get a new car soon, I'm gonna have to fucking make payments on that. I'm thinking, can I even survive with the amount of money that I'm making right now if I do that in order just to get to fucking working back? Like,
we can't even consider going to the hospital. Like, it's crazy,
yeah.
man.
No.
And you've got people in Congress who are like, well, if they just stopped eating so much avocado toast, they'd have enough to get a house. I'm like, what the fuck planet is everybody living on? It is incredibly frustrating, man. So, but that's why we gotta, like, man, that's why this should be respected even more. That people are still, putting their time into hobbies and crafts and art and things that, in all likelihood are probably not going to make them like all that much money, but they're still, they're still going for it and finding a way to survive outside of that too,
yeah. And
It's
like
a-
that battle that we're talking about. It's like it's like a battle against the man, essentially, almost.
Really, to not get cynical and not slide into a life of just
Yeah.
quiet desperation, as they say.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I don't know. One of the biggest things my dad always told me, he said, do what you love and the money will come. And, because he got into, right out of college, a sales job, and then it was just, it was going to be good money at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he, was planning on just staying there, and eventually became really good at it and just decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do for my life. This is I don't want to say the safe route, but yeah, the safer route, you know, and I know this will set me up in the long run, but like, in a sense, there's some regret there with him, you know, because he's like, fuck, you know, did I really go after the goal? Like, and that's what sucks as an artist.
I hear that
so
a lot.
much because it's like, fuck, man, I'm going to be eating breadcrumbs trying to do this, but like, I think I'll be so much fucking happier.
Yeah, well,
I'm firmly in that camp right there. That like choosing the thing that makes you happy over the thing that makes you money. Like, of course, that's a super fucking privileged thing to say. So what the fuck do I know? But still,
no, I think that it's more of an aware thing to say because it's kind of like doing psychedelics, kind of, right, or anything where you really get, for the shittier term, woke.
What isn't like doing psychedelics? Dave?
Right. So that's the one thing that happened to change my shit. For some people, it's more like yogically, like they would do it like more like or like through meditation and other things. Yeah,
I like that word.
It's actually a word.
Is it really?
It is.
That's dope.
That's Terrence McKenna said it. That's the only reason why I know that it's okay to say.
Ooh.
Yeah. So yogically, so you can do it through like yoga, or you can do it through there's different ways to reach this said enlightenment, right? Like I'm not going to pretend like I'm enlightened or whatever, because I try to avoid that as much as possible, just to like whatever woke, whatever. It's all stupid. It kind of takes away from the point. The point is we're trying to talk about getting to a point where you're egoless, that you're trying to establish yourself on a higher level than other people, but. My point is when you start to realize things, you start to discover these truths, you can't really go back and assimilate into reality the way that you once did, without it just being in the back of your mind. Like you can't pretend like what you experienced did not happen and that you don't see things in this way now. And it's the same thing.
What's the show we just saw today about the punk guys that are doing that?
Where's the bathroom?
Straight down the stairs.
Straight down the stairs.
Yeah.
Soundbreaking?
Yeah.
With like that mic on there? And they were like,
the other F word.
Oh, the other F word, yeah. It's following like all these punk stars from like the 80s and 90s and like following them now, what's going on, and them as like 45-year-old dads like with kids and then like going on tour with all that stuff. And it's like a, I thought it was analogous to like kind of what you're talking about there, and it was just a really interesting thing to see.
It was funny because that was one thing I remember my dad actually, when we were watching like Behind the Music when it was still going on, and there was Green Day on there, even though this was before like Boulevard of Broken Dreams and all their other fucking like hit singles.
So before
this was like still like after they're just pulling people on. They're like, oh yeah, these guys are legends. They've been in this for like 15, 20 years now, and whatever. So, but you had Billy Joe Armstrong going there. He's like, yeah, I can't be like 45 and like. Trying to be doing all this stuff like that, and my dad was just like nodding his head, say, "See that guy? He gets it. Like he learned." It was like, it was just so funny to me because,
wish you could do like a Daily Show-esque like call back to the tape to him now.
Well, no, I mean, but even then, like, regardless, it's just pointless. Like even going down that road, trying to like talk to your dad about that, because it's just like he's on a different thing than me, and like we have to find a way to just relate and meet in the middle about that. But like when
I get into the situations, it's purely for my own enjoyment.
Yeah,
it really is. I'm just fucking with them at that point,
right?
Because I know it's a fool's errand.
Yeah, but see, everybody's parents or everybody's personality is different, as we know. So people, like some people you can fuck with, and some people you can't. Mine is not somebody you can really fuck with. You don't fuck with them. You just learn to just like let it go. And you know what? That's probably a trait that I'm going to carry on if I have kids. So I'm going to have that with them. They won't fuck with me because I'm just going to be like that dad. Like, don't.
Smack
don't.
Backhand.
It's all, you just have to recognize love.
Knock.
But it is all love. Like you have to recognize when somebody is coming out of love and malicious. And as we said before, we truly believe that most people out there, despite their actions or beliefs or what they fucking say in moments of fear and doubt and whatnot, that most people are better than they are bad. That they want to do good for people, and that they would rise to the occasion if something fucking bad happened. And so we just really need to, in every case and way possible, like live by example in that way and create good and new ideas.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you said that, because like that's really where my music has started to take a turn and start to move forward, is when I just kind of stopped worrying so much and started just kind of, it wasn't like I wasn't being real before, but it was just kind of I was being way more supportive to all of my friends and artists and going out there and just talking to everybody and just being like, yo, this shit's fucking awesome. I love this fucking song.
It's better.
This and that and blah, blah, blah. And I was just it was almost annoying. I felt like I was being annoying to people almost, just because I was just throwing it out there and giving it to them, and then next thing you know, all of a sudden things are starting to go better in my life all of a sudden, and and I'm getting connections from here and there, and what the fuck. Now I'm working with an artist who I just fucking saw at Serenity, who absolutely fucking blew my mind. I was standing there in front of the stage I have a fucking collab coming with this guy, and I am not even near his fucking league, and here I am, with the fucking chance to do something. Yeah. And it's not really I just kind of just been doing me. And that's where I've had the most success. And when I was trying so hard to fucking live a certain way and think a certain way, and it was just almost that put me to the side and limited me in a sense.
Well, limiting you, and it's the fear. It's that shows you the difference between how your perception can change, because before I used to feel the same way, it's just as convicted that I lived in truth, right? And I was very picky, because you can be picky, because you can break things apart and you can break them down and analyze them in a certain way, but you can choose to look at it this way, or you can choose to look at it that way. Mm-hmm. And when I used to choose to look at it in a negative way, I would say, well, fuck, I'm not going to lie to just make you feel better about it. I'm not going to go ahead and lie to make it. But at the same time, now that I'm going this way and loving everything, when I've learned how to do that, I'm not lying. Mm-hmm. I do love it. Mm-hmm. I've just chosen to fucking like it. Yeah. I like it now.
And it's your brain
dope.
just
because you can appreciate the good things and everything. And when you do that, you really speak with passion and conviction about it. And guess what? You're not going to have people hating what you say because you're just being that negative fucking person in the corner. Yeah. You're going to have people saying, you know what? That guy talks with some fucking conviction. And that's the greatest thing you could do, is talk about things in a positive light with conviction and beauty, and make them see that. Yeah. And they will. They'll start to be whoa, they put on a rose, colored pair of glasses, and they're just seeing the world from a different light.
My writing in the last 2 years has really reflected that a lot more without me unconsciously. It's just started happening to where I started writing more about the fucking downs to the ups, because I was at the up, and all this shit just started kind of flowing out of me. Once I started, like you said, fucking having that mindset, that positive mindset, and just I don't know, and even still now, it's we all still fucking get anxiety and have doubts all the fucking time. Oh, yeah. Every day I question, am I fucking good enough to be able to make it? Who fucking knows? Fucking go for it. Stop thinking so much about it.
In many ways, it can become more trying, I feel. The more that you get into the way that it should be, because you're no longer putting blame or doubt on anybody else but yourself. And so in a lot of ways, that could be you're digging yourself deeper into that dark side of the hole, because when you have the highs, you're gonna have the lows. This is it's all about duality, polarity. That's the way the world works. But when you get into those lows, it's about, training your mind to really say, this is something that's going to pass. Yeah. And accepting and relearning all of the things that we're learning, and instead of running away and going to the simple shortcuts that supposedly help you get out of it, when they don't, it only digs you deeper into it.
It's interesting because you guys, I think, know my girlfriend, Sydney.
I met her, yeah.
She is an empath. If you know what that is, I mean, we're all empaths in a sense, but she's a fucking empath to the point where she can be standing in a crowd and feel the fucking, feel somebody's sorrow from fucking over there, and have it physically affect her, emotionally affect her, and I don't feel I don't get those feelings like that because I was born differently and I have different fucking DNA and different personality and characteristics.
Like a logical sense.
She's an introvert and I'm an extrovert and like, but I'm like starting like it's really crazy learning with her because like there's so many things that I don't understand about it and just how fucking different we are, every single one of us as a person, like, and the shit that we've gone through, like, you know, like I said, I had a pretty good upbringing. She pretty much raised herself. And because of that, she's a completely different fucking person than maybe she would have if she did have a, like, stable upbringing. And at the same time, because of that, she's probably fucking way more mature than I am. And she's 3 years younger than I am. And it kind of...
It's all relative, though.
Yeah.
It's all relative to, you know, the different circumstances and in different areas we all shine.
Yeah.
You know, and we learn
as long
from
as
each
you're
other.
both in the same set of 18, that is.
Yeah. Sorry. Let's not go down that road. We're not trying to promote, you know, everybody
Toxic.
has, not trying to do that stuff.
There are some ideas not worth bringing to the table. Anyways, continue.
But you know, that's why the connection is harmonious. You know, the connection between you guys, because it's like you're learning something like that. You guys have something to offer each other, not in the sexual type of way we're just mentioning, but like we know more of that's what your soul needs. You know, you need that person that's going to, if you're at all like myself, who's a stubborn motherfucker who doesn't like being like, to find somebody who can like really just talk to me directly and like kind of put me in my place and like make me feel a certain way, or like, you know, make me like to convict, you know, to put their convictions on me, or at least like, you know, just and make me like respect that is like, whoa, you know. And it's very few and far between, but when it happens, you're like, whoa, what is it? Okay, what do you have that I don't have? You have something that I don't have right now.
That's like,
you've got something
I look up
need.
to her so much because of that, because like it's like she has this whole other fucking crazy aspect to her that she has to deal with that like I don't ever have to fucking worry about. And like when I see her struggle through it, you know, it affects me in a way. But like more than anything, it like you said, it's teaching me like so much shit that I never would have even thought about, and then puts into perspective the way that I think about others and the way that I'm treating others and the way that, you know, like it's this, you know, like that
a good relationship will do that.
Like, that's a good, like he said, a good relationship. That's something that, you know, a relationship you want to be in.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, what do you see yourself like moving toward with this? Do you have a goal or a plan or a direction?
Kind of, yes. I mean, so the plan is I'm going to be releasing an EP later this year on this label called ThazDope Records, which is a label out of like the Midwest, but it's like they are growing like crazy right now, and I give it 2 years before they're like household names throughout the U.S. as far as like the bass scene goes.
Okay.
And so with that, I've been collecting collabs from tons of artists that have worked with that label, and some of my fucking favorite artists that I just reached out to and somehow was able to get them to collab with me and create music with me. And so the hope is that so basically I'm going by I think I'm gonna go by Nugent, capital N-E-W, and then or capital N lowercase E-W, capital G-E-N-T.
I like
Nugent.
that.
My last name's Chase. Well, I'm Chase Nugent.
That's pretty cool.
People always butchered Nugent and said Nugget.
They did?
Nugget. Fucking everybody. Oh
People
my God.
that didn't grow up listening to fucking
Ted.
Black Scratch Fever.
Yeah.
Cat Scratch Fever.
Which
sorry.
is a lot of people I've realized.
Cat.
And so, so I'm gonna do that kind of like, and a little bit of that like is a reference to like New Gentleman and kind of that. Like,
I like
a
that.
little bit of classy.
It makes perfect sense right away.
Yeah, and you know, my goal is it'll be like basically I'll have a DJ with me mixing as if it was like a DJ set essentially. And what I'm going to be doing is going some tracks, if they're clean enough to where I can rap on the drop, I'll be rapping on the drop. If it's too chaotic, I want to keep that separate and like rap into the drop, because I love that, and it like
That's a cool way
you
to like,
brings the hype up to the
think about
fucking
it.
drop, and then boom, no vocals, and you get to fucking experience the sound design and the melodies and all that shit by itself without any distractions of trying to hear what I'm saying or trying to get something out of my message.
Right.
You know, and that's because I fucking love bass music so much.
Right.
Too.
You gotta
That's,
like give
my
room
way.
for that
Yeah,
too. And that's
yeah.
where like, you know, it kind of breaks those barriers of like, you have to have a verse after every, like that's one of the things that like when I formed the band with my buddy Joey, we like broke away from that idea that you had to follow this strict rule. We kind of went down with like the Neil Young thing where it's like you might have a you know, a verse and a hook and a chorus for like one, even just in a couple of our songs, like just one part, and then the rest is all just jamming. And it's the same thing. Like you get like some like, you know, if you listen to some Deltron or something, you know, you might get like some breaks where it's a lot more like instrumental, and then you listen to him rapping for maybe what, like in Gorillaz is a good example like that with the Clint Eastwood. It's like just two verses as opposed to like, you know, going on longer than that, and then it's like this long outro, you know, one of the greater songs. It was like a super long thing. You got to just switch it up, tweak people's brains a little bit.
And I think even too is like I kind of almost want to like sometimes just play a track without any vocals, without me even rapping,
and why not
enjoy some fucking music?
And why not? Exactly.
You know, and I feel like, well, is that wrong? Does that take away from my artistry because I'm not doing something?
No,
you know?
that's fuck that.
And
See,
I'm kind of
fuck
thinking,
that. Do whatever you like.
Fucking love for music.
Yeah.
And wanting them to fucking, you got to hear this track.
Yeah.
I just want to fucking play this track for you.
Exactly.
You know, there's no room for me to rap on it, so I'm just gonna, you know, give it to you.
Sometimes a fucking drawing looks better in black and white than it does with color, you know, like, or whatever, you know, however you want to put, you know, use that analogy. But it's the same fucking idea. Like, do whatever the fuck you want when it feels right, because that's what expression's about. If you're doing it as it goes along, like that's what it's about.
My biggest thing is the collision between hip hop and electronic music and the listeners that I'm trying to reach, because some hip hop heads fucking hate electronic music, and some electronic music heads don't fucking like hip hop.
But you got to bridge that gap.
Yeah, and so it's like, so in my sets, can I play both? Can I do, you know? And I think yes, and I think
don't
no.
worry about the ones who you think might not like it, because eventually they'll come around.
Yeah.
If it's pure and raw, as we said before, you know, like, and you slowly start to bridge that gap. The ones that aren't liking it are the ones that are kind of torn away because they're you know, holding on to strict fucking rules and from based on their own insecurities for whatever reason why they can't like something, and so they'll, you know,
and sometimes that exclusivity is what can make that new genre, that new niche, you know, give it its authenticity.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and like I'm trying, I don't know, like you said with the haters too. Like I wanna. It's gonna be hard to block that shit out.
Yeah, but you gotta do
like
it.
Trying to, and so I'm just like, you know,
you're already in it.
Yeah,
you gotta, you just gotta, you know, you just gotta be you. You got a lot of fans, man. You got friends, you got homies. Yeah. You belong to an already very, very strongly supported group of individuals who fucking.
And that's a skill, I think. Yeah. Everybody at some point is going to have to really learn. Yeah. You know, because you're never going to avoid that. So you might as well learn to not embrace it, but live with it, you know, find your way to cope and do that.
So as we're wrapping up right now, is there anybody that you want to plug, any events that you have coming up, anything that you want to...
If you get the chance, it's a little late notice, but and most people are going to Lib, so it's kind of a no-go for like a lot of people, but we still made it happen. But we're... I'm going to be performing on a bunch of different sets at the Untz Festival the weekend after Lib in Mariposa, right next to Yosemite. Okay. One of my favorite festivals because it is that festival like that we talked about with the Roots. It's like underground bass. It's like the best of all the underground bass with some of the best of like, kind of not mainstream at all in any way, but like they'll be on some huge lineups because they're that fucking good type of names, you know. And so I'm going to be playing fucking, just happens to be every set that I'll be on is on Kevin and Williams fucking Hennessy's combined with the ThazDope records, which I'm doing an EP for. They're bringing their set of Hennessy's and combining them into this massive system that I'm going to be blessed to fucking perform on a bunch of different sets on. But yeah, like, so I'm kind of just focusing on that. And then like I was focusing on finishing school And then now I'm kind of like starting to start piece together like a plan for the future, because like I want to start touring pretty soon, but I think first I want to like release a bunch of music and get that kind of established, so that people have something to, because right now all I have on my SoundCloud is like 10 old school hip hop songs, which are fucking fire. I love some of them, but I want a lot of this new bass music stuff to be there too, because I that's the crowd I'm gonna be kind of. That's
the direction you want to move.
Yeah, that's where I'm moving. So I don't know. It's crazy, man. Like it's happening all so fast that it's like. My brain's like, all right, well, where do you start?
Yeah, I would. My only advice, and it's not. I mean, whatever you say, because I'm in the same mode basically, and it's just that don't think too much on where you need to be, because it will fall into place. So just keep doing, keep moving, keep going. You're doing great. From what I've heard, I really enjoyed it. That's why we both were in agreement that fuck, we got to bring this guy on the podcast.
Oh yeah, when he told me, I was already like, dude, I was thinking about that was one of the names I was gonna bring up, because after last weekend I was like, yo, how do we not know him? Like he's fucking dope.
Yeah,
like
and exactly, and you're friends with all the homies and stuff, and we're looking forward to, as with Art in the Park, as we start to get more. Going more and more, I'm going to start to try to bring more artists in that are not necessarily just DJs as well. More people that are doing like bands, live stuff, open mic type stuff, as well as mixing it up. And I'm sure that all of the other crews that we've been talking about that have been coming together and doing these things, as it starts to go, like, we have no doubt that there's always going to be a place for you in that, and so. We're really excited about it. You're just adding one new piece into that gauntlet that we're talking about. That one added spice into there that's going to create this fucking, crazy fucking beautiful stew that's going to, liven up the world and change it for the better in some sort of way. So. Thank you fucking a lot for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm so glad to be here.
It's been fucking fun, dude. So, Phil, is there anything else that you need to let people know about? Anything coming up?
The only thing I gotta promote is this thing called Art in the Park coming up.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
But I'll let you take that one.
This Sunday we've got an Art in the Park. It's going to be our Monster Mash Art in the Park. It's our 7th time doing it, but we've had such amazing turnouts from everybody. Everybody's finally coming together. We've got some amazing live musicians playing. We've got the Elixir Bar there. We've got lots of artists contributing, and this month's going to be a monster theme. So dress as a monster, come out and make some monster canvas, whatever.
Monster noises.
Yeah, and then right after that, we've got Retreat OC over at in Mission Viejo at Retreat. We got the K Tribe's taking it over.
Detmer's doing that.
Detmer's doing that, and Detmer and Kiros and the K Tribe fellows. So you like some good Untz boots and cats? Go out there and get your fill of boots and cats. It's gonna be a long day. We're gonna fucking kill it. Yeah, so that's all I've got for you. And as of course, follow Psychedelic Lions Den, psychedelic_lions_den, to check out all the dope artists, all of my friends that I really fucking love, and their art is just completely inspirational. Check out, my personal Instagram at Hoodrat Stuff with 3S. Where can they find you, Chase?
You can find me at soundcloud.com/Chase Nugent. Last name spelled Nugent, like fucking Ted. You should know this. Cat scratch fever. Do you have a cat? Do you have a cat? And have you ever been scratched? Well, that shit sucks.
Or do you watch a shitload of Fox News? Because that shit also sucks.
Yeah. He likes them guns. He likes them guns. But
and then while you guys are at that, of course, do not forget, if you remember one thing from this episode, it's that you remember to subscribe to this show so that you get us right into your podcast player every Thursday. And that's right, we are fully syndicated all over the place now. So proud of that shit. So we have got yes, that's right, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play,
Spotify.
You could probably find us at Denny's. Nice. We're that good. And of course, the biggest one right now, Spotify.
That's right.
So
straight up,
go ahead, tell some friends about us, love us, go check us out on social media. That is at Let It Bleed Cast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know what? I'm not gonna be selfish. I'm gonna just let that end right there.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you so much
you
for fucking
guys.
for coming on, dude. I felt
Love you
really
guys.
inspired by listening to this. Love you too, man. That was very inspirational.
awesome convo.
Hopefully, all of you out there learned a very valuable lesson, or a lot of them, or got some tips on where to go in your creative endeavors. And anything that'll help you out. Think positive. Keep
Yes.
going. If it's meant to be, it will fucking
Yes.
happen for you. Just put that energy out there, all of that love, and let it bleed.
Yes.